Welcome, slime enthusiasts, ready to relive one of the most beloved isekai journeys ever animated. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime took the anime world by storm with its unique premise: what if you died and came back as a blob?
なるほど、なるほど。
But this isn't just any blob. This is Rimuru Tempest, the slime who builds nations, befriends dragons, and casually becomes BFFs with demon lords. Whether you're preparing for Season 2, need a refresher, or just want to bask in the glory of Rimuru's rise to power, this complete 24-episode recap has you covered. Office worker Satoru Mikami meets an untimely end via stabbing, but not before making his friend promise to destroy his computer. Priorities, people. He awakens in a dark cave, now reincarnated as a slime in a fantasy world with an AI companion called Great Sage living in his mind. As he explores the cave and absorbs new skills through his predator ability, he encounters Veldora, an ancient storm dragon who's been sealed away for centuries. The two form an unlikely friendship, and Satoru, now christened Rimuru Tempest, decides to help free Veldora by swallowing him whole with Predator to analyze the seal from the inside. Veldora also takes the Tempest surname, cementing their bond. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Rimuru's friend dutifully destroys his computer, keeping his final wish. Veldora's sudden disappearance from the cave sends shockwaves through the outside world, setting major events into motion. With Veldora safely stored inside him, Rimuru continues gaining new abilities by consuming various cave creatures. 3 human adventurers, Eren, Kaval, and Guido, arrive at the cave searching for information about Veldora's whereabouts and inadvertently open the sealed entrance, allowing Rimuru to finally escape into the wider world. Upon leaving, Rimuru stumbles upon a goblin village under threat from a pack of direwolves. The frightened goblins plead for his help, recognizing some kind of power in the friendly slime. Despite being new to this world and having no obligation to these strangers, Rimuru agrees to protect them, setting the stage for his first real battle and the beginning of his unexpected journey as a leader and protector. Rimuru teams up with the goblins to face the direwolf threat head-on. The battle culminates with Rimuru defeating the wolf pack's leader, forcing the remaining wolves to surrender. Rather than continuing the cycle of violence, Rimuru proposes a radical idea: the goblins and direwolves should live together in peace. To seal this new alliance and strengthen his followers, Rimuru gives each of them individual names, a seemingly simple gesture that has massive consequences. The act of naming drains so much of his magical energy that he passes out for 3 full days. When he finally wakes up, he discovers that his naming has triggered an evolution. The goblins have transformed into hobgoblins and the direwolves into Tempest starwolves, all significantly more powerful than before. The son of the deceased direwolf leader pledges his loyalty to Rimuru. Realizing his new community lacks the skills to build proper infrastructure, Rimuru decides to journey to the dwarf kingdom of Dwargon to recruit skilled artisans. Rimuru arrives in Dwargon accompanied by Gobta, and quickly learns that city life comes with its own challenges. After getting into a scuffle with some local thugs, he's thrown in jail, a rather unglamorous introduction to dwarven society. He earns his release by providing the guards with high-quality healing potions, demonstrating his value. This leads to a meeting with Kaijin, a talented blacksmith who's struggling to fulfill a difficult order for longswords. Rimuru offers to help using the magisteel ore he collected from the cave, and in exchange, Kaijin agrees to provide artisans for the Goblin village. The arrangement works perfectly, and Rimuru, Kaijin, and his dwarf companions celebrate their success at an elf bar. The festivities are interrupted when a mysterious figure approaches their bar, hinting at new complications ahead. The mysterious figure turns out to be a fortune-teller elf who reads Rimuru's destiny, showing him a vision of a young girl saying goodbye to her family, a prophecy that will prove significant later. The celebration is further interrupted by Vesta, the pompous minister who commissioned the swords. Disgusted by Rimuru's monster nature, Vesta hurls insults that provoke Kaijin into punching him, resulting in arrests all around. At trial, they face Hero King Gazel Dwargo himself, who has a complicated history with Kaijin. Gazel makes a calculated decision. He exiles Kaijin and his companions, who immediately pledge themselves to Rimuru as his artisan team, and also exiles Vesta for his corruption and dishonesty. Before Rimuru leaves, the perceptive Gazel notices something about Rimuru's connection to Veldora and secretly dispatches a ninja to follow and observe him, curious about this unusual slime's true nature and intentions. The adventurer trio from Episode 1, Aaron, Kaval, and Guido, discover Veldora's disappearance from the cave and are tasked by their guildmaster to investigate the forest. They're joined by a mysterious masked woman named Shizu. When the group encounters danger, Rimuru arrives to save them, and he immediately recognizes Shizu from the fortune-teller's vision. A connection forms when Shizu reveals she's also from Japan, summoned to this world during wartime from 1940s Tokyo. Rimuru shares memories of modern, peaceful Japan with her, creating a bond between two displaced souls. However, what Rimuru doesn't realize is that Shizu harbors a dark secret. She was summoned by Leon Cromwell, a former hero turned demon lord, and her body serves as a vessel for Ifrit, a powerful and dangerous fire spirit. Shizu's tragic past comes to light through flashbacks showing how Ifrit once took control of her body and killed someone she considered a friend. As Shizu prepares to depart with the adventurers, Ifrit seizes control once again and unleashes devastating flames upon Rimuru's village. Rimuru attempts to counter with water-based attacks, but they prove ineffective against the fire spirit's power. Thinking quickly, he copies Aaron's ice magic to deal with Ifrit's summoned minions. During the battle, Rimuru makes a crucial discovery. His slime body is completely immune to fire damage. Exploiting this advantage, he uses his predator ability to swallow Ifrit whole, successfully separating the fire spirit from Shizu and trapping Ifrit inside his stomach alongside Veldora. Freed from Ifrit but weakened, Shizu opens up to Rimuru about her past. She speaks of the hero, a mysterious figure who found her, gave her purpose, and showed her how to live in this strange world before vanishing without explanation. Sensing her life force fading now that Ifrit no longer sustains her, Shizu makes a final request. She asks Rimuru to consume her body so she won't leave remains in this world that was never truly her home. Rimuru honors her wish, and in doing so, gains the ability to take human form, one that resembles a younger version of Shizu herself. After informing Aaron, Kaval, and Guido of Shizu's death, Rimuru allows them to say their farewells through his new human form and gifts them new weapons. As they depart, Rimuru resolves to find Leon Cromwell and deliver Shizu's final words to the Demon Lord. Unknown to everyone, the masked Magen Gelmud is already setting dark plans in motion, recruiting an orc named Geld to trigger a catastrophic orc disaster in the forest. Rimuru experiments with his new human form inherited from Shizu and the abilities he gained from Ifrit, discovering in the process that he's completely genderless, a fact that amuses Great Sage but slightly disappoints Rimuru. The peaceful exploration is interrupted when a group of powerful ogres attacks the Goblin village, accusing Rimuru of manipulating orcs to destroy their homeland. Tensions run high as the ogres prepare for battle, but Rimuru demonstrates his overwhelming strength to get their attention. With crucial assistance from the ogre princess, who senses Rimuru's genuine nature, he convinces the ogres that he's not their enemy and invites them to the village for proper negotiations. The ogres, desperate and without a home, agree to hear him out, setting the stage for an alliance that will reshape the power dynamics of the Jura Forest. Rimuru learns the full truth. The ogre village was destroyed by orcs being controlled by a masked Magian, none other than Gelmud from Episode 8. Understanding that they face a common enemy, Rimuru proposes that the ogres become his subordinates in exchange for protection, resources, and revenge. The ogres agree to a temporary alliance until the orc threat is eliminated. In a now familiar ritual, Rimuru bestows names upon them: Benimaru, Shuna, Shion, Hakuryu, Soe, and Kurobe. The naming triggers another dramatic evolution, transforming the ogres into Kijins, far more powerful beings with enhanced abilities. Meanwhile, the lizardmen are facing their own crisis. Their chieftain detects that an Orc Lord has emerged and is commanding thousands of orcs marching toward their swamps. He sends his son Gabiru to seek help from nearby goblin villages, unaware that those goblins now serve a slime who's rapidly becoming the most powerful force in the forest. Several days pass as the Kijins settle into life under Rimuru's leadership. Gabiru arrives at the village with his lizardmen companions, full of bravado and demanding that everyone submit to his command to fight the orcs together. His arrogance needs deflating, so Rimuru arranges a duel between Gabiru and Gobta, who has been training diligently with Hakuryu. To Gabiru's shock and humiliation, Gobta defeats him swiftly and decisively using the advanced combat techniques he's learned, forcing the lizardmen to retreat empty-handed. Shortly after, Rimuru receives a visit from Trainee, a dryad who serves as a guardian of the forest. She brings a grave warning and a request. Charybdis and the Orc Lord pose existential threats to the forest's balance, and she formally asks Rimuru to defeat the Orc Lord before its rampage destroys everything. Trainee explains the horrifying truth about the Orc Lord's power. It possesses a unique skill called Starved that inflicts an insatiable hunger on all orcs under its command. This hunger drives them into a berserk state where they'll consume anything, even their own fallen comrades, to gain more strength, creating an ever-growing army of monsters. Recognizing the threat, Rimuru accepts Trainee's request and immediately sends Sway on a diplomatic mission to negotiate an alliance with the Lizardmen. Back at the Lizardmen's territory, the wise chieftain urges patience, instructing his warriors to wait for Rimuru's forces to arrive before engaging the orcs. However, Gabiru, still stinging from his earlier defeat and now being manipulated by Laplace, one of Gelmud's messengers, sees an opportunity to reclaim his honor. In an act of betrayal, he stages a coup d'etat against his father and leads the Lizardmen army in a direct assault on the orcs, completely unaware that he's marching his people straight into a massacre. Rimuru's forces rush toward the battle and encounter Gabiru's sister, who reveals the full extent of her brother's foolish coup. She desperately pleads with Rimuru to rescue both her captured father and the Lizardmen army that Gabiru has led to slaughter. On the battlefield, Gabiru's worst fears are realized as his forces are being decimated. When the orcs devour a fallen lizardman soldier, they immediately absorb his abilities, demonstrating the terrifying power of Starved. Meanwhile, Trainee confronts Gelmud and Laplace in the forest, forcing them to withdraw with the help of a light spirit. Gabiru finds himself cornered and outmatched by an orc general, facing certain death until Rimuru's forces arrive in dramatic fashion to save him. The combined might of Rimuru's group makes short work of the orc general and most of the orc army, while Sway successfully rescues the Lizardmen chieftain. With the army defeated, Rimuru advances to face Geld the Orc Lord in single combat, ready to end this disaster once and for all. Just as the battle seems won, Gelmud reveals himself and his true plan. He intentionally created the Orc Lord to evolve it into a new Demon Lord, disrupting the world's power balance. When Gelmud tries to control Geld, Rimuru intervenes, forcing Gelmud into direct combat. After Rimuru defeats him, the Orc Lord does the unthinkable. Geld kills and devours his own creator Gelmud, triggering his evolution into the Orc Disaster, a proto-demon lord. The newly evolved Geld proves far too powerful for even the Kijins to handle. Realizing the desperate situation, Rimuru allows Great Sage to take complete control of his body, optimizing his combat abilities. Even with Great Sage's tactical perfection, Geld adapts mid-battle, developing fire resistance that neutralizes one of Rimuru's key advantages. Rimuru resumes manual control and engages in a climactic battle of consumption, pitting his predator against Geld's starved. During the final confrontation, Rimuru learns Geld's tragic truth. He was a desperate leader searching for food to save his starving people when Gelmud manipulated him. Understanding his pain, Rimuru consumes not just Geld's body, but his sins as well, ending the orc disaster and freeing all the orcs from Starved's curse. The Kijins, moved by Rimuru's compassion and strength, pledge to continue serving him permanently. In the aftermath of the orc disaster, Rimuru establishes the Jura Forest Alliance, uniting the lizardmen, goblins, and orcs under a single banner of cooperation and peace. Despite his protests, Rimuru is unanimously chosen as the Alliance's chancellor. To prevent future conflicts and strengthen the orcs' new path, Rimuru bestows the name Geld upon the Orc Lord's son, honoring his father's memory, which evolves him into an orc king while transforming the other orcs into high orcs. He also names the lizardman Chieftain Abaru. Gabiru faces consequences for his coup and is officially exiled from the lizardmen, setting out on a journey of redemption. Meanwhile, Lapis reports the Orc Lord's defeat to his master Clayman, one of the true demon lords, who becomes increasingly curious about this mysterious slime. 3 months pass in relative peace until Dwarf King Gazel, having learned of Rimuru's nation-building and the Orc Lord's defeat, travels to the Goblin village with his army. He challenges Rimuru to a duel to determine his true nature and intentions. After Rimuru successfully blocks all of Gazel's strikes and they discover they share the same swordmaster, Hakuryu, Gazel is satisfied that Rimuru isn't a threat. He offers an official treaty, and the Jura Tempest Federation is born and recognized as a legitimate nation. 2 days after formalizing the alliance, Gazel returns with an unexpected guest, Vesta, who humbly apologizes to Rimuru and Kaijin for his past behavior and requests to join them as a researcher. Rimuru accepts, gaining valuable expertise. Gabiru returns as well, bringing his sister and several other lizard men who wish to serve Rimuru. When Rimuru names them, they evolve into dragon Utes. The peaceful development is shattered when news arrives that 4 demon lords, Milim Nava, Clayman, Frey, and Carrion, have learned about Rimuru and the Orc Lord incident. The ancient and incredibly powerful demon lord Milim Nava decides to personally visit the Jura Forest to see this upstart slime for herself. When she arrives, Ranga and the Kijins move to protect their master, but they're completely outmatched by her overwhelming power. Just as disaster seems inevitable, Rimuru makes a surprising move. He calms Milim down by offering her honey. The gesture works perfectly. Milim is delighted and immediately declares them friends, deciding to move into the village. While relieved they avoided destruction, Rimuru's council worries that his friendship with Milim might upset the delicate balance of power between demon lords, potentially painting a target on their backs. Vesta achieves a breakthrough in potion development, successfully creating a full potion that matches the quality of Rimuru's naturally produced ones, prompting plans to negotiate commercial production of low-level potions for trade. The business discussion is interrupted when Phobio, the beastkeeper serving Demon Lord Carrion, arrives in Tempest, intending to conquer it and prove his worth. Before he can cause serious trouble, Milim casually defeats him with minimal effort, much to Phobio's humiliation. Rimuru resolves the situation peacefully and negotiates with Milim, offering her a new weapon in exchange for valuable information about the world's power structures. Later, the Border Survey Corps led by a man named Yuum arrives, having joined forces with Aaron's adventurer party. Rimuru makes them a strategic offer. They'll publicly take credit for defeating the Orc Lord, giving them fame and giving Tempest a useful human face for diplomacy. Meanwhile, the vengeful demon lord Clayman turns his attention to Charybdis, a legendary calamity beast of immense power, and dispatches Tear the Harlequin to investigate its potential use in his schemes. Phobio seethes with rage and humiliation after his defeat at Milim's hands, desperately wanting revenge but lacking the power to achieve it. Tear and Footman, two of Clayman's Harlequin servants, approach him with a tempting offer: become a demon lord himself and gain the strength to defeat Milim. The plan seems simple. All Phobio must do is let the ancient calamity Charybdis possess his body while maintaining control of his consciousness. Phobio agrees and breaks the seal containing Charybdis. Tear reveals her true orders. She was sent by Clayman specifically to revive Charybdis and direct it toward Milim, using Phobio as a pawn. Trainee sister Traya warns Rimuru of the disaster unfolding. She explains that Charybdis was born from a cloud of Veldora's leaked magicules and exists as a mindless ruler of the skies, focused solely on destruction. The monster has already summoned 13 megalodons from the spirit world to serve as its vanguard and is heading straight for the Jura Forest. Rimuru and the Dwargan Empire immediately begin war preparations, knowing that facing a Calamity-class monster will require everything they have. The battle against Charybdis begins with 100 Pegasus Knights from Dwargan joining Rimuru's forces in an aerial assault. They successfully destroy the 13 megalodons, but when they turn their full combined might against Charybdis itself, the creature shrugs off their attacks completely. Rimuru engages Charybdis directly in an intense battle, but during the fight he makes a crucial discovery. Charybdis is possessing Phobio's body, meaning they can't simply destroy it without killing the Beastkeeper. More concerning is the revelation that Charybdis's true target isn't the forest or Tempest, it's Milim herself, likely drawn to her immense power. Rimuru had deliberately kept Milim out of the battle to avoid collateral damage, but now he realizes she's the key to victory. He requests her help, and Milim unleashes her devastating power to obliterate Charybdis while carefully sparing Phobio's life. After the battle, Phobio apologizes for all the chaos he caused. The investigation afterward reveals the truth. All their recent troubles, the Orc disaster, Charybdis, and more, trace back to manipulations by Clayman's moderate Harlequin alliance. Demon Lord Carrion, impressed by how Rimuru handled the situation, establishes a non-aggression pact with Tempest. The entire city celebrates their victory over Charybdis with a massive feast featuring filleted megalodon meat. Milim eventually departs during the celebration. That night, Rimuru has a vivid dream about Shizu and her lingering regret. She never fulfilled her wish to help 5 children who were summoned to this world like her. Compelled by this vision, Rimuru travels to the kingdom of Ingracia with Ranga to find them. There, he meets Yuuki Kagurazaka, the grandmaster in charge of the children, a teenager who is himself an otherworlder like Rimuru. Yuuki arranges for Rimuru to become their teacher, but delivers sobering news. Unlike otherworlders who came to this world naturally, the 5 children are summons, brought here forcibly to be used as weapons. Their young bodies contain so much magical energy that it will kill them within 5 years unless something is done. Moved by Shizu's memory and his own compassion, Rimuru vows to honor her wish and find a way to save these children from their tragic fate. Rimuru meets Shizu's 5 students: Kenya, Chloe, Gail, Ryota, and Alice. The children don't take him seriously as their new teacher, so Rimuru decides a practical demonstration is needed. He challenges each of them to individual duels to show the difference in their skill levels. Kenya attacks with fire magic, Chloe uses water magic, Gail fires magic bullets, Ryota employs body enhancement techniques, and Alice controls toys through puppetry magic. Despite their diverse abilities, Rimuru defeats them all decisively, earning their respect and acceptance as their sensei. Believing that Shizu survived from childhood to adulthood because Ifrit sustained her, Rimuru theorizes the children might survive if inhabited by superior spirits. He visits Trainee seeking guidance, but she explains a significant problem. The Queen of Spirits they once served is dead, and with her death, the Dryads lost their connection to the dwelling of spirits and no longer know its entrance. During a picnic with the students, they spot a sky dragon flying toward the capital. Rimuru intercepts it and uses gluttony to consume it, preventing potential destruction. A grateful merchant named Mjolnir, whose life Rimuru saved, invites them all to dinner. Mjolnir recognizes Rimuru and extends a business invitation to visit Tempest. After dinner, Mjolnir's assistant prays to the Queen of Spirits to protect the children. When Rimuru questions her, she reveals she came from a village near the dwelling of spirits. Armed with this crucial information, Rimuru, Ranga, and the 5 children set off to find the legendary location. Rimuru, Ranga, and the students successfully locate and enter the dwelling of spirits. Inside the entrance labyrinth, they're immediately tested by a spirit who attacks them with a giant metal golem to assess their worthiness. Rimuru makes short work of the test by incinerating the golem with ease. The labyrinth spirit reveals herself as Ramirez, claiming to be one of the 10 demon lords, though her tiny, fairy-like appearance makes everyone skeptical of her claim. She explains her unusual history. She was once the actual Queen of Spirits before dying and being reincarnated as a demon lord, which explains why the Dryads lost their connection to this place. Ramirez also provides crucial information about Leon Cromwell, the one who summoned Shizu. Leon was originally a hero who fell from grace and became a demon lord, explaining the contradiction in his nature. Understanding Rimuru's predicament with the children, Ramirez agrees to help summon superior spirits for them, but only if Rimuru creates a new golem to replace the one he destroyed. Rimuru readily agrees to the bargain, bringing them one step closer to saving the children's lives. The spirit summoning ceremony begins with mixed results. Gale, Alice, and Ryota attract numerous inferior spirits instead of the superior ones they need. Thinking quickly, Rimuru devours all the inferior spirits and uses his abilities to fuse them together, creating 3 new superior spirits that successfully inhabit the 3 children. Kenya manages to summon a superior spirit of light on his own, which bonds with him immediately. Then something unexpected happens with Chloe. An unknown spirit-like being appears that even Veldora reacts to from within Rimuru, suggesting its immense power. Regardless of this concerning development, the dangerous magical energy that was killing all 5 children has been stabilized. They will no longer die in a few years. Relieved, Rimuru creates a new golem for Ramirez as promised, and they return to Ingracia. Yuuki confirms that the nations who originally abandoned these children are unlikely to try reclaiming them now, so they should be able to live normal lives going forward. Rimuru chooses not to reveal to Yuuki exactly how he saved them, keeping his methods private. Reflecting on the past 2 years, Rimuru feels satisfied that all their major problems have been resolved. In a moment of inexplicable intuition, he gives Chloe Shizu's magicule suppressing mask, unsure why but feeling it's the right thing to do. Unknown to Rimuru, a mysterious woman watches him from the shadows, her intentions unclear. The final episode shifts focus to a flashback from Shizu's past. A dying woman summons a powerful demon to avenge her and her partner, and the demon accepts, finding the request amusing. In Shizu's memory, she's summoned to the kingdom of Filtwood alongside other adventurers to stop a demon from claiming its remains hidden beneath the castle and achieving resurrection. When news spreads that the Silver Wings, a famous adventurer duo, were killed by the nameless demon, some adventurers try to withdraw from the mission. The minister refuses to let anyone leave, then reveals that some among them are possessed by demons, triggering mass paranoia. A figure in the crowd begins laughing, the demon from the opening scene, and cryptically mentions that the knights themselves summoned the lesser demons, though he doesn't elaborate. Hired to kill a demon, he announces his intention to kill all the adventurers present to find who's responsible for the Silver Wings' deaths. Shizu refuses to allow this massacre and duels the being, who calls himself Kuro, meaning black. During their intense battle, one of Kuro's attacks is reflected by Shizu's mask, severing his arm. Impressed that someone actually managed to hurt him, Kuro decides to withdraw, calling the fight amusing. Afterward, Shizu recalls Leon's warning about the most powerful demons being the progenitors, identified by colors like rouge, red, and noir, black. A knight summons Shizu to meet the king, but it's revealed as a trap. Both the king and minister are puppets controlled by the very demon they were hired to stop. This demon has assumed the identity of Orthos, the hero who previously defeated him, evolving into an archdemon. Orthos overpowers Shizu, but Kuro arrives at the critical moment, killing the king and minister. Kuro scolds Orthos for being overconfident and dependent on rouge, then destroys his soul completely. Officially, the story becomes that Kuro killed the king and minister, and then Shizu defeated Kuro, a convenient lie both agree to maintain. In the post-credits scene, Kuro observes Rimuru from an unknown location and cryptically declares that next time, Rimuru will lead him to the truth of this world, setting up mysteries for future seasons.